Welcome into this weekend's Soccer Best Bets show. Now, with minimal European League soccer action last week, we had all but just one parlay going for our best bets in Serie A, and we did hit it. Now, all the leagues are back from cup competitions, albeit with a few of them having lighter schedules this weekend, but there's still much more to choose from compared to last week. However, many teams will be missing some key players as they're playing internationally in the Asian Cup and the African Cup of Nations. So we'll try to dodge some of those minefields with players missing here. Now let's hope to build on our season record in these European soccer parlays that is now at 41-18. This weekend, going with 3 parlays, 8 different games here. So please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you find this info helpful. Let's start off with parlay number 1. Starting on Friday, the Bundesliga is back in Germany. It's back from their winter break. And it starts off with what looks like a good game between Bayern Munich and Hoffenheim. This will be the standalone game on Friday. It's Bayern. They're second. They're hosting Hoffenheim, who are 7th. It's hard not to see goals in this game. Bayern's games average the highest goals per match at 4.3. Hoffenheim's average the third highest at 3.9. Bayern's home games average 5.0 goals per match, which is the highest. Hoffenheim's road games average 3.8 goals per match. That's the third highest. If you look at over 3.5 totals, Bayern Munich is 10-5. That's the highest amount. Hoffenheim are 11-5. That's the third highest amount. Over 2.5 totals, Bayern are 14-1. Hoffenheim are 13-3. Hoffenheim are actually better on the road. That's where they'll be in this game. They're ranked 15th at home, and they're 3rd away. They've scored 17 goals for in those 8 road games. But then Bayern scored 30 at home, and they've only conceded 5. So they've been keeping most teams off the scoreboard when they're playing at home. Now, last year, the scores between these teams were lower. It was a 1-1 draw and a 2-0 Bayern win. But both of these teams have been scoring in a ton of games, almost every game. They have long scoring streaks, going back far past this season. Now, Hoffenheim's last 4 games prior to this break, if you look at their scores, they were a 3-3 draw, a 3-1 loss, a 3-1 win, a 2-1 loss. So lots of goals in their games. I think either way, we see at least 3 goals, whether Hoffenheim contributes or not. If they don't, maybe it's 3-0 Bayern. Let's just go over 2.5 goals in this game. Moving on into Friday, into Saturday. We'll stick in Germany. It's Freiburg and Union Berlin. Now, across 24 games in all competitions of the Pokal, the Bundesliga, and the Europa League, Freiburg has scored a goal in 20 of those 24 games. The 4 times they didn't, all of those games were on the road. There was against Stuttgart in the Bundesliga, Frankfurt in the Bundesliga, Bayern in the Bundesliga, and West Ham in the Europa League. So all much better teams than they'll be playing here against Union Berlin, and all games on the road. They've not failed to score a goal at home in 12 of their last 12 games at home. That goes back to last season. They've scored 16 goals across their past 5 home games as well this season. Now, Berlin went into the break on a high with wins in 2 of 3 games and a 2-0 home win over Köln in their last game. They are still 15th at 4-1-10 and 1-0-6 and being outscored 17-7 when playing on the road. On the road, they're riding a 10-game winless streak. They've allowed 8 goals in their last 3 games. Berlin will also be missing co-top assist man Issa Laduni, who's playing in AFCON with Tunisia. We'll go Freiburg to score a goal. And we'll round it out going over to Spain in La Liga. It's Betis and Granada. Betis on the road, bad. 1-6-3, outscored 16-9. Betis at home, great. 5-4-0, still undefeated. They outscored their opponents 12-4. Now, home or away, Granada are bad. They're 19th overall at 2-5-12. They did win 2-0 at home in their last game over Cadiz, but they are especially bad on the road at 0-1-8, where they've been outscored 21-8. Earlier this season, these teams drew 1-1 in Granada. Last year, Betis won 2-0 and 2-1. This should be a Betis win if you wanted a single bet, but they are winless in 6 games across their last 6 in all competitions. They have scored a goal at home, though, in 11 straight. Granada have conceded in 18 of 20 in all competitions, in 18 of 19 in La Liga. We'll go Betis to score. So Bayern and Hoffenheim over 2.5. Freiburg to score 1, and Betis to score at least 1. That comes in at minus 145 odds there. Parlay number 2 is going to the Premier League in England. Now, there's a shorter slate of games this week with some teams still playing in cup competitions, the FA Cup, either late in the week or early next week. So we only have 5 games. We have 2 on Sunday. Let's start off our parlay. On Sunday, it's Everton and Aston Villa. Now, after a run of good form with 4 straight wins, Everton has regressed with 4 straight losses and a draw in their last 5 in all competitions, and they failed to score in their last 2 games, both on the road. At home, they scored in 8 of their past 9 in all competitions. 2 or more goals in all, and 9 of those games has also happened. Prior to a 0-0 draw with Palace in the League's Cup last game, there had been 2 or more in all of their games, home or away, in their last 7. Villa's always good for a goal. They've scored in 13 straight in all competitions and in 28 of their 30 matches in all competitions this season. But in EPL, a road game for them this season, they have conceded in 9 of 10. There's been 2 or more goals in 9 of 10. Both teams to score is 7-3, and in their past 4 road games, their score lines have been 3-2, 2-1, 2-2, and 2-1. Now, both only have 1 call-up for international duty to AFCON or the Asian Cup, but none of their top scorers. For Villa, it's Bertrand Traoré of Burkina Faso, and for Everton, Idrissi Gueye for Senegal. Now, in the League's Cup in September, Everton won 2-1. Last year, Aston Villa won 4-0 and 2-0 in the EPL. Villa in EPL is 7-2-0 versus Everton in their last 9 games, so they have dominated them in league play. This could easily be a both team to score. It could be a both team to score and over 2.5. I'm simply going to go over 1.5. The next game on Sunday is Man U and Tottenham. Not much separates these teams in the table. Tottenham is 5th with 39 points, and Man U is 8th with 31. Tottenham have been the much more lethal attacking team, though, this season with 42 goals in 20 games, the 4th most goals for in the EPL. Man U has only scored 22. Now, that's actually fewer or equal to every team below them in the table except for 19th Burnley and 20th Sheffield. In fact, even 18th place Luton Town with 23 goals for has scored more goals than Manchester United this season. Man U has struggled of late, winning in Carabao Cup over Wigan on Monday, though. But they are still 1-1-3 in their last 5 EPL games at home. Even at home, they're a mediocre 6-0-4, and they've actually been shut out 3 times versus Man City. That's not too bad, but it's also happened against Palace and also Bournemouth. Their last home game was a 3-2 win over Aston Villa. Now, if you've been betting the EPL, you know Tottenham's story, and it's goals, goals, and more goals. Their games average the highest goals per match at 3.6. They've gone over 2.5 at the highest rate as well at 15-5. After winning 3-1 to Bournemouth in their last EPL game and 1-0 over Burnley in the FA Cup, they've still now scored in every single game in every competition this season, that being 22 different games. Prior to an FA Cup 1-0 result, they had scored multiple goals in 5 straight in the EPL. But 1-0 road win over Forest is their only clean sheet in their past 11 EPL games. There's not been fewer than 2 goals between these teams in any of their last 10 matchups. Man U also hasn't failed to score at home against Tottenham since 2018. So there's a good scoring trend for Man U to go against their poor current scoring trends of this season. Now, international call-ups, we have Son Heung-min is the biggest loss here among the teams for Spurs. He's their leading scorer and 3rd leading assist man. He's gone to South Korea for the Asian Cup. They'll be missing him for the next few weeks. They'll also be without Yves Bissouma and Pape Sarr to AFCON, as well as a whole host of other injuries. But then Man U also have a whole host of injuries as well. If you were to look down the injury reports of these teams, it's a pretty lengthy list, but both teams still have plenty of other players who should be able to get on the score sheet. Injury-wise, just one of them, James Maddison's also out for Tottenham. He's their 2nd assist man. He's tied for 4th in goals. But Tottenham has brought in some reinforcements. They've just signed Timo Werner on a loan from Leipzig. Now, it's unsure if he'll get the start, but he could possibly be available to play to cover some scoring depth with Son Heung-min gone to Asia. Now, Man U will be out Sofiane Amrabat and Andre Onana to AFCON for their international call-ups. So even with a bunch of absentees, the scoring streaks for Tottenham, this is mostly a Tottenham-based bet here. They still have Richarlison, could have Werner. They always seem to score. They rarely keep a clean sheet. I think we at least see both teams to score here. At least a 1-1, probably more. So we'll go Everton at Aston Villa over 1.5. Man U and Tottenham both teams to score. That will come in at -124. If you want a little bit better odds, you could probably bump up that Everton and Villa to both teams to score as well. So one more parlay now. We have 2 in the books. Going over to Sunday, and it's the Bundesliga and La Liga. Let's start it off with Bochum and Bremen. Now, neither have been good. Bremen, they're 4-8. They have 16 points. Bochum, they're 3-7-6. They have 16 points. Bochum only have 18 goals for in 16 games. But 12 have come at home, where they are 2-4-1. Now at home, Bochum has scored in every game and won 3-0 and 3-1 in their last 2 home games. But last 3-0 clean sheet versus Union Berlin is their only clean sheet. Bets on both teams to score is 6-1 in their home games. If you go back to last season, Bochum has scored in 13 straight at home. Away from home, Werder Bremen is 0-2-5 this season. They've conceded in all 7 games. They conceded multiple goals in 5 of those 7 games, and they've either been shut out 3 times or scored 3 themselves 4 times. Go back further, and Werder Bremen is 2-4-13 away in the Bundesliga, and they conceded in 15 straight games. Last year, the scores were 3-0 and 2-0 for Bremen. One way or another, I think we see 2 goals here. We'll go over 1.5. Gladbach and Stuttgart is the other game in Germany on Sunday. This typically would look like goals, and I still do think it should be, but we'll get into a few players who might be missing, who will be missing later on in a minute. For Gladbach, they're second in goals per match, 4.1. Stuttgart are 7th at 3.5. Gladbach are first in over 2.5 totals at 15-1, so all but one of their 16 games have seen at least 3 goals. Stuttgart are not far behind in that category at 12-4. If we're looking at just 2 or more goals in a game over 1.5, Stuttgart is 16-0, and Gladbach is 15-1. So between those two, only one game has not seen 2 goals this season between both teams. Gladbach, they are the second highest both teams to score team at 81% of their games. Heading into the winter break, Gladbach, last 3 games, they were a 2-1 loss, a 2-2 draw, and a 3-1 loss. So again, lots of goals in their games. Stuttgart, before the break, they had a 3-0 win, a 3-0 loss, and a 1-1 draw. If we look at the last 7 head-to-head meetings between these teams, scores have been 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 1-1, 2-1, 2-1, and 3-2. Now the concern for Stuttgart, like I said, there are going to be some missing players here. They are missing their leading scorer and the second overall Bundesliga scorer in Girassi, who has 17 goals, plus they have another scorer, Silas Mbumpa, who has 3 goals. Both of them will be off to the African Cup of Nations. It looks as if Gladbach have retained their top scorer, though, in Alisson Plia, as the club denied letting him go to play in AFCON for Mali. So if those Stuttgart scores were here, I definitely would see this as both teams to score, but I think if I went, but they still probably could score. Gladbach doesn't keep very many clean sheets, but I think if I went both teams to score and Stuttgart don't score, knowing that some of their top scorers are out, I might just feel silly. So let's just go over 1.5. Now to round this out, we'll jump over to Spain. It's Almeria and Girona. Until something changes, you just have to keep riding this Girona train, especially against La Liga's worst team, Almeria, who are still winless at 5-14, and they've been outscored 43-19. Now look, I just needed 2 goals between Osasuna and Almeria last round in La Liga to complete a parlay. Now Osasuna got theirs, got up 1-0, and even with a whole half to fight back for Almeria to try to draw level, to either score or just open themselves up to be scored on again, Almeria never even sniffed scoring. I was watching it. It didn't even feel like they were trying to push forward and get the ball, so I can't trust this team very much at all. Now, Almeria have drawn 0-0 in their last 2 home games with Mallorca and Betis, but they also let in 3 to Sociedad, 2 to Las Palmas, and 3 to Granada in their 3 home games prior to that. Now, it's hard not to see Girona to keep rolling here. They probably will win this game. They are second in La Liga. They are 15-3-1. They're the highest La Liga scorers right now with 46 goals. That's 6 more than Real Madrid. They are tied with Madrid for the best road record, 2 on points, with 23. They're 7-2-1. They've outscored their opponents 21-11 on the road. They've scored in all but 1 game this season, so in 20 of 21. The only game they didn't was against Madrid. Last game was a 4-3 win over Atletico Madrid. They are susceptible, though, to letting in some goals sometimes. They've allowed a goal in 16 of 21. Bets on both teams to score in Girona games are 15-6. Now, when these teams played earlier this season, we saw 7 goals with Girona winning 5-2 at home. And there was tons of goals last year when these teams played as well. Girona winning 6-2 and Almeria winning 3-2. Like I said, Girona should score, should win. We'll go Girona to score over 1.5 goals to round up this parlay and bring us in to plus money. So Girona to score over 1.5 goals, Gladbach and Stuttgart over 1.5 combined, and Bochum and Bremen over 1.5 combined. That comes in at plus 114 odds. So there are my best bets this weekend in the Premier League, La Liga, and the Bundesliga for this weekend. Let me know what yours are down there in the comments, and good luck with all of your soccer bets this weekend.